So we'll go back to the Africa and the Caribbean island states of the Americas working on various aspects of collaboration and partnerships in the oil and gas industry. Discussions around the opportunities that both Africa and the Caribbean can harvest in the hydrocarbon sector was part of the two-day summit which was concluded today in Guyana under the umbrella of the African Export-Import Bank. Let's take excerpts from this panel of industry professionals at the event.
For Trinidad, so just for context first of all, so Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, here's one of the world's newest oil provinces, incredibly exciting. Trinidad and Tobago is one of the world's oldest oil provinces, been in the business since the beginning of the 20th century. About 500,000 barrels a day of oil equivalent production, but 85% of that is natural gas. That natural gas goes into LNG, methanol, and ammonia. So obviously the geopolitics with the Russian invasion of Ukraine obviously created a sort of a lot of interest in Trinidad and Tobago as a major exporter of natural gas being the big thing that Europe wanted to buy, not from Russia. And also ammonia, another big export traditionally of Russia and of Ukraine. Trinidad, major exporter is actually the world's major exporter of ammonia. Most ammonia is not exported, it doesn't cross the border, it goes into production. Trinidad is a major exporter of ammonia, incredibly important for food. Ammonia goes into fertilizers, so that's how natural gas links to food security. So obviously the changing geopolitics created this interest in Trinidad. Trinidad has, we are in a pretty unique position because we have a lot of available capacity in our downstream part of the industry. We have an LNG train which is currently offline, we have a methanol plant offline, we have an ammonia facility offline. That's all because our upstream production has been declining. So obviously the big push for Trinidad is to increase our investment into Trinidad's upstream, increase our gas production, fill up that downstream infrastructure that we have, and make available to the world secure supplies. And Trinidad has a great reputation of being a secure supplier, really good respect to contracts. We believe in multilateralism, so all the sort of things which the international community looks for, Trinidad ticks all of those boxes. So yeah, there's been a lot of interest in Trinidad because of that geopolitics.
It's huge potential. Africa is 10% of global hydrocarbon reserves, of which 70% is actually gas. So Nigeria, over 170 trillion cubic feet of gas. Mozambique, with the big discoveries there, is close to 100 trillion cubic feet of gas discovered. Phenomenal discoveries all in the last 10 years. Angola, Algeria. And so based on shipping routes and the advantage of close proximity to Europe, African gas is certainly going to do well. But what is interesting is about the geolocation of the Caribbean is approximately 12 days shipping into the west coast of Africa. And oil products are typically very cost sensitive from the logistics side. So we've seen cargoes come from the US West Coast, deliver into West Africa of refined petroleum products. So I expect to see, as Guyanese crude gets as we see increased in production, I expect to see homes for Guyanese crude and Trinidadian hydrocarbons as well on the west coast of Africa. So we're really looking forward to a bit of cross-trade between the two continents, particularly with the additional refining capacity that is being discovered or being created in West Africa, particularly in Angola and Nigeria right now. And slates of crude are necessary. It's a blend that is utilized in most refining processes and not just singular crude from one region. So they're great prospects for the future.
It's an opportunity for African and Caribbean nations with what you see happening in Ukraine, but it boils down to something very, very easy. It's going to mean, can we ramp up capacity? Can we really meet the demand? I hate to tell you, no, we cannot. Because why? We do not have the funding that goes into developing a lot of underexplored fields that are there. So you could have potential, you could have discoveries, but if you cannot ramp it up and bring that gas, then you would not be able to meet European demand and also meet African demand. So it is an opportunity for us to we could say we've been saved by the bell, but we need to ramp ourselves up and get our house in order to be able to meet that demand. So for us to just say, yes, it is an opportunity, but what are we doing about it? Being able to really go in there, explore more, drill, discover, produce that gas, but also demand on our partners, whether they're coming from Europe or any place where they're saying, you need to produce and give us gas. What are we asking of them? Don't just give us gas. I saw on the news coming here that the Chancellor of Germany is in Nigeria looking for gas. Put some money in the game. You need to put money so you can produce the gas. And I mean, Owando is sitting right here. They stand on so many potential resources. How many people are going to them and say, let us do joint ventures with you? Same with Caribbean companies. That's how you get a lot of the gas out. It's not just demanding it without investing in it.
Ukraine crisis creates significant opportunity for Africa. You know very well that 5 of the top 30 oil-producing countries in the world are on the African continent. The oil and gas sector contributes something like 53% of the GDP of African countries today. In some countries, actually like Equatorial Guinea, Chad, Gabon, it is a very significant percentage of the GDP, physical revenues to those countries. Again, over the last couple of years, we've seen significant discoveries in both gas and in oil. 18 African countries today are producing oil. They have about 175 million of reserves, barrels of reserves. In terms of gas, over 9% of the world's reserves in gas are in about 20-something African countries, which accumulates to about 18 trillion cubic standard feet meters of gas.